We do want to begin in Manitoba, and a direct call to the White House right now. The Premier, Brian Pallister, is calling on the U.S. president to send unused vaccine doses north of the border. Let's bring in Hilary Johnstone. She is covering this story for us. So the Premier convening this Saturday news conference, Hilary, to tell us this. What?
Yeah, and quite a rare Saturday morning news conference, really. And what Premier Pallister said was that he wants Joe Biden, the U.S. president, to, quote, get out of the way, saying that Biden has been saying no to sending vaccines to Canada when he would like to see the U.S. president saying yes instead. So that is what we heard from Manitoba's Premier earlier today, calling on the White House directly to send vaccines that are not being used in the United States right now up to Canada. Brian Pallister even saying himself that Manitoba right now is the hotspot for COVID-19, not just in Canada, but in North America. He also made this claim that governors, U.S. governors in some of those border states, that they are willing to send vaccines to Canada, but it's the White House that is getting in the way. Take a listen now to a little bit of what the Premier had to say.
I'm advocating for the United States and the White House particularly to get out of the way and let states and provinces cooperate on getting vaccines that are in freezers in the United States up into Canada into arms. We had an agreement in the planning stages we were wanting to implement that would have got thousands of vaccines up here, and it was, shall we say, kiboshed by the White House.
Now, Michael, we are already hearing from the opposition in Manitoba, in particular from NDP leader Wab Kinew, and he called Pallister's comments desperate, saying that the Premier is blaming basically everyone else except for himself for what has been happening in that province. And he even saying that at this point he's now blaming the U.S. president for what's happening in Manitoba. Take a listen.
The Premier has blamed everybody for the failures in the vaccine rollout and refused to accept responsibility for himself. To date, he's blamed First Nations people. He's blamed Justin Trudeau. And today he blames Joe Biden. We know what's next. He is going to blame Manitobans for his own failure to accelerate the vaccine rollout.
Now, Michael, we have asked the Prime Minister's office for any comment or reaction to this, to what Pallister said earlier this morning. I've been referred to a readout of a phone call that happened yesterday between the Prime Minister and the Premier, saying that both governments had agreed to continue working cooperatively to deliver safe and effective vaccines to Manitobans. Now, we've also heard from a government official saying that they wanted to thank the U.S. for some of those vaccines that have been sent to Canada in recent weeks, also adding that Canadian officials are in touch with their American counterparts. We've also asked American officials, both here in Ottawa and then at the White House, for any reaction that they might have to the Premier's comments. We've not heard anything. Of course, if we do hear anything, we will bring that to you.
Okay. Now, of course, the Premier is desperate to get vaccines as Manitoba is dealing with its case counts. And in fact, we have the latest case counts for today out of the province. So what are you looking at right now?
We do. So the province of Manitoba is announcing 476 new cases of COVID-19 today. Now, that is a bit of a drop from numbers we've seen the past couple of days. Of course, that province set a record on Thursday with 603 cases. Yesterday on Friday was 594. So this is more than 100 fewer cases than what we saw yesterday. But of course, it takes more than one day's worth of data to really tell if we're seeing an actual drop. And this is also coming on a day when that province is introducing tougher restrictions, including bans on any gatherings with anyone outside of your household, both indoors and outdoors.
And of course, the concern being that any new number adds to the case counts in hospitals, which are already bursting at the seams. So, Hilary, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Our Hilary Johnstone in Ottawa.